I was really, really deep in an eating disorder. And I walked into the gym, like I'm 5'6" and I was 100 pounds, and I walked in like skin and bone. And it affected my training, and I knew that it did, and I wasn't putting food in my body, and I knew like I was going in tired and I wasn't as strong as everybody else was there. And it literally saved my life, because all of a sudden I cared more about being good at jiu-jitsu than I did about being skinny.
My name is Rob Williams with BJJ MMA. We're doing another interview for Women of Jiu-Jitsu. What got you interested in Jiu-Jitsu originally?
I had been around it for a lot of like adult life. My family actually owns the building that TriStar's in, so Michael is like really good friends with a lot of the fighters that train it. So I knew about it. Like they come to my family dinners a lot, and I had seen them fighting and stuff, but never really wanted to do it myself until a few years ago when one of my good friends just asked me to roll. Like he's pro, so he travels the world training and all that stuff. And he asked me to roll, and I was like, I don't know what that means, but sure. He just like up my body in all sorts of weird ways. And I was like, I don't know what just happened, but that was awesome, and I have to learn how to do it.
Awesome. How long have you trained in Jiu-Jitsu?
I've been doing it for probably like close to a year and a half now, a bit under a year and a half. So not super long, but intense.
What style of Jiu-Jitsu do you train primarily? Gi, no gi?
Only no gi. I've put on a gi twice. I don't like it. Only no gi.
Excellent. I'm sure we have triggered some of the yes gi people who will be watching this.
For sure.
Honestly, like it's just train whatever you want to train. It's just whatever gets you in the gym. That's it.
Yeah, I agree.
If you have one, what is your current belt rank?
Right now, just still a little white belt.
What gym do you train at?
TriStar Montreal.
Excellent. What things do you look for in a martial arts gym?
That's a really good question. As of right now, like I think the only thing I would look for is just knowing that there's somewhere to train no gi. Beyond that, I don't care all that much. It would be really nice if I knew that there were women that trained there, but given the gym that I currently train at, it's not really that high on the priority list. I'm not used to training with a lot of women rigless. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Honestly, like I wouldn't be that picky. If I were moving to a new city, I would definitely be pickier, but like I've thought about leaving Montreal a lot, and I'm like, I can't, because I can't leave TriStar. So it wouldn't even be a thought in this moment.
Awesome. What is it like training in an overwhelmingly male dominated sport?
It's frustrating sometimes, that's for sure. I know like there will be a lot of people that I'm sure I'm more technical than, but they have an ego and they're like, I could beat this girl if I just hustle. So they do. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you're like double my weight. I'm obviously not going to be able to technique through that. There's just no way. So it can be frustrating, but I also feel like my defense is a lot better than it would be if I was just practicing against people my size. Like I'm always under someone that has like at least 50 pounds on me. And the other hard part that I'm still kind of struggling to come to terms with is what my goals are in this part. I have to be realistic. I am a woman, and like even when I watch tournaments, I don't always watch the women's matches. It's just not as entertaining or not as big. I'm not as familiar with the women that are big in jiu-jitsu. I wish that wasn't the case, but it is. Even for me, so I can't really expect it to be different for other people. But so I know like I can't have a career in this. I can't like make a future out of this. I'm a woman.
What have been some things that have been helpful in overcoming some of these challenges?
Really just doing it because I love it. So it doesn't really matter if the guy's going to beat me because he has more muscle. Like I'm doing the thing that I love. It doesn't really matter if I'm not 100% sure what my end goal is going to be. Every single day that I walk into the gym, I'm happy and I'm doing something that like brings joy to my heart. So I keep going.
Do you compete?
I haven't yet. So then that's the other issue, I guess, with doing it as a woman. There's a lot of fights when you're a beginner. For sure, there's a lot. But I didn't feel ready to compete when I was a beginner, which now I realize was a mistake, because now that I would be considered intermediate, there's no one. Literally, I'm like, I was signed up to compete this weekend, and I'm still the only person in my division, so it's not going to happen. It sucks. And I think that like once you get to like advanced, it gets better. But there's like a 3-year period where like, how do you compete? I'd have to like really travel, and I can't do that right now.
For those who don't know, who may be watching this, if you took every single person in Canada, you'd be still less than the entire state of California population-wise. So there's whatever issues there are in the States with regards to jiu-jitsu tournaments, it's magnified tenfold in Canada. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's rough. And on top, it's illegal in Quebec, so I already have to go out of parts. It's so stupid.
Yeah, I don't pretend to follow Canadian politics and news super carefully, but I did hear about that. I'm like,
yeah.
All right. Yep.
Yeah, like the competition I was supposed to be in this weekend is in Plattsburgh, so like I have to leave the country to compete.
Oh, goodness. Have you ever felt intimidated about going into a jiu-jitsu class?
Definitely when I first started, even sometimes a little bit now. When I first started, I was really going in. I knew I wasn't going to know anybody in that gym. I didn't know anybody that trained other than that one guy who he doesn't live in Montreal anymore. He really just travels constantly. So I was pretty terrified. And I sat there like in the corner alone being like, wow, everyone here is like big UFC fighters. What am I doing here? I'm like this little blonde girl. But then I like a few girls and I was like, okay, I'm going to go be their friend. But it was super, super intimidating. And then even now, like, it's kind of hard when you make the jump to the advanced class, because now all of a sudden like you're really with the like big good fighters. Really like knowing who's going to be my partner for the class. And if I don't know that I'm going to like have someone that I'm training with and I'm going to walk in there and like have to find a partner, I get nervous. And like I've been there for over a year and I go almost every day and I'm still I'm scared who's going to be my partner today. Because they don't want to train with you, you know, like I get it. I do understand like they're not going to get as good drilling with me as they are going to be with someone that's their size. But I understand that it's hard. You know, you kind of look around and you're like, all right, who's the smallest guy here that I can try to steal and be my partner?
What things were most helpful in helping you overcome this feeling of intimidation?
Good question. I don't know if I have a concrete answer. I'm still really working on it. In the beginning, it was really just I wanted to get better so bad. And like all I wanted was like be good at jiu-jitsu, be good at jiu-jitsu. I want to compete. I want to be the best. Like, that was it. So it fueled me to keep going. But then now, when I'm a little bit more iffy with goals and where I want it to take me and what like long-term my plans are in the sport, it's harder to stay motivated and go when I feel that fear, because I'm like, well, I don't know if there's 100% of me, you know what I mean? So like if I know like, okay, my friends are going to be there, I'm going to go, I'm going to train with them, I'm going to get some good rounds in, it's easier. If I don't do that, I still struggle with it. Like tonight, I don't know who my partner is going to be. So I'm like, am I going to go to class? Maybe I'll just go for rolling after.
What has jiu-jitsu done for you?
I don't even know where to start with jiu-jitsu done for me. First of all, I guess the biggest thing, so like we're going to go a little deep here. But when I started jiu-jitsu, like just a bit over a year ago, I was really, really deep in an eating disorder. And I walked into the gym, like I'm 5'6" and I was 100 pounds and I walked in like skin and bone. And it affected my training and I knew that it did, and I wasn't putting food in my body, and I knew like I was going in tired and I wasn't as strong as everybody else was there. And it literally saved my life, because all of a sudden I cared more about being good at jiu-jitsu than I did about being skinny. And I started feeling my body and I started eating more, and I was like, no, like I don't care about that. I don't want that. I want to be strong. I want to be healthy. I want to like get good. I want to be able to drill. I want to be able to roll. I want to be able to like beat these girls, you know? So that was awesome. That was like the best thing that ever could have happened. Top of that, like walking down the street at night, I feel confident. Like I'm not afraid if a guy comes and starts messing with me. I'm like, nah, I'd probably take him. Like I'll be okay. If he has a weapon, then I'm screwed. But assuming he's just like a douchebag head on me, like I could take it. I'm way stronger than I was before, like infinitely stronger. I used to not be able to do a push-up. Like I went down and you put a gun to my head, I would not be able to push my body back up. Now I can do like 20 in a row without stopping.
Oh, no. Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Not on my knees either, like real full push-ups. Basically ripped. Exactly.
But first, a message from our sponsors. Actually, just kidding. I don't have any sponsors around here at this point. It's a one-man operation. Anyway, my name is Robin Williams. I'm the CEO and founder of BJJ2 MMA LLC. I want to let you know that I spent in excess of 80 plus hours doing the research, the writing, the scheduling interviews with people, conducting the interviews, doing editing and other post-production stuff, as well as doing research into the things that people reference during the interviews. I can include links for folks who want to seek more information. I did all this outside of my night job, which is working full-time, as well as my training schedule. So all that to say, it takes a lot of effort to produce content like this, but I really do enjoy doing it. So if you want to support my work and you want to see more content like this in the future, I would highly encourage you to go over to bjj2mma.com/donate to learn more. Thank you. What keeps you coming back to train?
I love it. I think that it's equal parts physically and mentally stimulating. So it's not just like an amazing workout, which it absolutely is. And I feel strong and I feel good. And I'm like dead exhausted after. And I'm like, yeah, like I worked my body. But it's a puzzle. Like you're in the situation and you're like, all right, there's a certain amount of options that I can do from here. And like, this is what I know my opponent's going to counter with. And like, then what can I do after that from there? Got to like bait them into certain situations. It's really, really like mentally stimulating. I feel
What is the piece of advice that you give yourself on your first day, if you could?
Don't do the beginner class. Go straight to advanced. Go straight to advanced, I think. Like, I remember my friends would always tell me that when I first started. They're like, no, don't do the beginner class. Go to advanced. Like, you're wasting your time. I think that the basics are important. Don't get me wrong. I just, I spent like probably 7 months doing beginner. And when I went advanced, I was like, wow, I wasted so much time in that. And roll. Oh my God, roll. That's like the number one advice. I was so nervous to roll with people. I wouldn't like go up to people and be like, hey, do you want to roll? Like I would wait for them to approach me and maybe I'd get like 2 rounds in every class. No. Roll. Like it's so important as drilling, if not more important. I don't know, but definitely like I didn't start rolling like really hard, like consistently for a long, long time. That's the biggest advice.
What do you think would help more women and girls get into jiu-jitsu?
That's a good question. I think that a lot of it would honestly just be like publicizing it more. Like I barely knew that it existed. I only really happened to just because of like my family situation. I wouldn't have known that it was a thing otherwise. People are like, oh yeah, I want to do self-defense. So they'll go like learn how to punch and stuff. But like jiu-jitsu is made for you to be able to take on a larger, stronger opponent, you know? So it's like the best sport for women to be learning. And none of them know that it's a thing. But like every girl that I talk to about it, they're like, yeah, it sounds sick. I want to come try. So that, number one, I would definitely say more all girls classes. I don't know about like the rest of the world, but definitely here in Montreal, there's not that many like just for girls. It's hard because the more girls are in it, the more there will be to offer the girls that are in it. But if there was more to offer them, then more girls would come. You know, even when I first started, like I had to buy men's rash guards. Like there were no like women's rash guards that I could find. But you need the women to make those. But then they're not going to come if you don't have them. So it's hard.
How do you think gym owners and instructors can help make gym environments more welcoming to women and girls?
That's a really, really good question. I don't know in general because I've been to like two other gyms other than TriStar, and it's a unique place. Like they're not really welcoming to anyone. But that's their vibe. You know what I mean? Like you come in and it's really just like this like hard like UFC gym, and like anyone new is kind of like, what the fuck is happening? Where do I go? I don't really think it's limited to women, but I think making sure there's a program like for them. I don't know if it necessarily should be only women. I think it would be cool, but just like, this is a time for you guys to come and train and learn stuff that's going to like help you in real life. That's really like, if a man's coming to attack you, this is how you're going to defend yourself. I think that once they start, they're going to love it and they're going to stick with it. But just to be able to get them in the gym, it would have to be something like a bit more tailored to women.
What do you wish that male jiu-jitsu practitioners would know about female practitioners?
Don't fucking muscle, man. Like, if you're going with us, know that you're way larger than us. Obviously, you're going to be able to beat, all know it. But if it's your technique versus my technique, maybe you won't. And like, just let that round be you really being technical and you practicing like properly how to do a move instead of just being like, I'm not going to get it, so it, I'll just like strength out of this, you know?
Do you have a desire to instruct others in the future?
Definitely. I think that would be cool for sure. I think that like even already now, I mean, I don't know obviously that much jujitsu, but like if any woman was like, I want to learn, but I can't afford it, whatever, I will spend however long they want to spend for free, just teaching them everything that I know. It would be my pleasure. 100%.
Okay. And the reason why I ask is because very often people said exactly what you said of, it would be nice if there were more offerings for women.
Mm-hmm.
But then that creates that, chicken and the egg situation where, well, hold on, if there aren't a whole lot of women who are coming up and training, who are interested in becoming instructors, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that people who are watching this know that, we're all human beings, even the people who are just starting off or the people who have been doing this for years. So what is one embarrassing moment that you've either been a part of or experienced yourself while you've been doing jiu-jitsu?
I guess it's not really like super embarrassing. I haven't had that many moments, but it was right in front of Faraz, the head coach, and I was rolling with a guy, and I'm like, I know I'm at a point where I'm like pretty close to getting my blue belt, so I want to like do well in front of him, you know what I mean? And I'm rolling with a guy, and he gets me in the leg lock, and he has my heel, so I like go to spin out of it. And like Faraz is yelling, he's like, you rolled the wrong way, you rolled into the heel hook, and I was like, I was nervous. You were watching me. Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, there goes my belt. That's it. I'm done. I'm gonna be a white belt forever.
Yeah, it always blew my mind how much it seems like coaches aren't watching in the entire time that you're training, and then it always seemed like those moments when they are directly looking at you, like, oh my goodness, this is where it counts. But really, they were watching you the entire time. It's like, all right, I'm just looking for X, Y, Z, or at least the coaches that I've talked with.
I hope so. I really, really hope so. At one moment I was like, well, that's it. Now I may as well quit. I just rolled into a heel hook.
Who were some inspirational female figures for you? Ideally in grappling, but any figure is fine as well.
That's a really good question. Definitely in grappling, Fionn Davies. She's awesome. I fucking love her. She's so cool. But I really like, she's probably the only person whose fights I watch. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not that involved in women's jiu-jitsu. It's really sad, but that's like part of my issue with it. I should watch more. I should like just commit to watching more.
Imagine there's a little girl who may be interested in jiu-jitsu, but is feeling shy about it. What would you tell her to help get her through the door and onto the mats?
I would tell her to go with a friend, bring a friend. If I knew her and she was in Montreal and she was coming, I would tell her I would happily do the beginner class with her or some ropes for sure. But if not, I would say just go with a friend, try it. Like, it's not scary. I'd probably walk her through like how a class works, so she would kind of go into it knowing. And then just stick with it and know that it gets easier. Talk to the people sitting next to you, make friends. Like, they're probably just as nervous as you are, and that's it. Once you have like a nice group of friends and you're going to wake up, you're going to go to the gym and you're going to see those people, it's like a family and it just feels good. You're not nervous anymore.
Do you have any gear recommendations for female jiu-jitsu practitioners?
No, but I'm looking for some. Someone else, please get on me. I don't know. I think over here, Scramble Canada, I don't know what the deal is, company. I don't know if they're like international and now it's come to Canada. I know we're calling it Scramble Canada over here. I think they have a women's line of rash guards and they're super cool. So I would say that, but I don't have any, so I can't fully recommend it.
Okay. The intention with this project is to have a record that people can go to in the future. So that way we can help expand women and girls in our sport. So do you have any social media or something that I can include a link to so that people can follow you if they're interested?
Yeah, for sure. My Instagram, pretty much the only social media that I use at this point. It's just, I mean, you have it. It's at Tori Gazin. That's it.
Oh, you know, I literally just made the connection about your last name. And, okay, that's very original. Very, very original.
Yeah, a lot of people don't get it right away. And I'm like, because my last name's Gazin. And then they're like, oh, that's good. And I'm like, it can't be that good if you didn't get it right away.
Well, with all that said, my name is Ron Williams. You can find me over at bjj2mma.com. And I'll see you on the mats.